The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander?
Absolutely.
In there, a large part of that book, when I read through that had me wondering, and I noticed this, is charge stacking. But let's say someone's in a situation where there's so many charges and the punishment is so high that they almost have no choice but to take the case. Now, is the district attorney the one that places those charges on people? And if so, what is your opinion on people stacking charges?
So the district attorney makes a decision who is charged, what they are charged with, when they're charged, how they're charged, and even why they are charged. That is the power of the district attorney. So again, when you're talking about the reach and why people should care about who sits in that seat, it is because of that tremendous discretion that the district attorney has the power to exercise. I'm a very big supporter of money bail reform because a lot of what we see are people who want to get out of jail. They don't have money to get out of jail, but they will plead to something when the district attorney says, I'll give you this and you can get out today if you just say you're guilty. And so for a lot of people, that's an offer they can't refuse. And no matter how many times I try to talk to my clients and talk them out of it, they will say, but I'm missing work or I have kids to look after. And so they will take a charge, plead guilty so that they can go home. Sometimes when the evidence is very weak.
Right.
In that same vein, you have district attorneys who will overcharge. So when you talk about charge stacking,
right,
they're overcharging. They are trying to charge on complaints, things that they cannot prove, but it makes the case look so much more serious.
right.
And so when your attorney is speaking with you, your attorney has to give you the information on what is the maximum exposure you're looking at.
Right.
And so when they charge stack or when they overcharge, you sit down with your client and you're saying, well, based on these charges, you're looking at 27 years and 8 months, or you're looking at 12 years and 4 months, whatever it may be. But if you really pared it down to what the district attorney could actually prove, it may just be probation.
Right.
It may just be 2 years.
Right.
But that is a tactic that I do not believe that district attorneys should be employing. You charge the value of the case. You charge what you can prove. But a lot of times they do overcharge so that you can be placed in a situation where you will feel, gosh, I'm risking all of this, so I should just accept their plea bargain.
Right. Well, because according to the New York Times article, 97% of federal cases end in a plea, and then 94% of state cases end in a plea. So it's pretty much always a plea each time. But what is something like when you say you don't believe in charge stacking? What do you do as the, like, how do you pass that down to where you make sure people don't do that? How do you control that? You know, because it's like a lot of people might say, okay, yeah, she's saying that now, but how do we know she's even going to do that?
So again, I am who I am. I've spent my life and my career pushing against the mass incarceration machine. I have no reason to turn back now. There's no incentive to do that. The whole reason why I would like to be district attorney is because I have the power to change the culture over there. I have the power to change the mentality over there. I have the power to change the tone and how cases are parsed out and how charges are levied. And so when you talk about how can I guarantee it,
right,
one, I'm at the top.
Okay.
There's nobody above me. So I'm implementing policies. And I'm all about justice and fairness and making sure that everybody's treated equally under the law.
Right.
I'm also about the human part of it, recognizing that just because someone made a mistake doesn't mean that that should define the rest of their life.
Right.
And so when you talk about what I can do as a district attorney and make sure that what I'm actually telling you today will come into fruition, it's also about your foot soldiers. It's about your chiefs that you put in place, people around you. And chiefs are people who head the different units and divisions. These are the folks that the younger line deputies come to discuss cases with. And you need people there who have your same philosophy.
Right.
Also, I'm coming in saying we need more diversity in the district attorney's office. So when you look at life experiences, when you look at socioeconomic levels, when you look at race, when you look at religion, when you look at all of these things that make us diverse, sexual orientation, where is the representation in the DA's office so that when people with different perspectives see these recommendations coming in from SDPD or from the sheriff, they can say, something doesn't seem right here.
Right.
And so that's going to be the key, is making sure that you put the right people in place to carry out your vision for the office.
Okay, so you mentioned bail. What can the DA do about bail? What can you do about that?
So the DA, again, has a lot of power with bail, because even if the money bail reform bill doesn't pass, DAs are still going to be in court every single day arguing for or against bail. You have deputy DAs who work cases and they come in and they say, Your Honor, I don't believe this person should be given bail for whatever reasons. Or you have deputy DAs whose positions, according to the facts, will be, well, I think bail should be at $100,000. You have criminal defense attorneys who may be on the case saying, well, my client can't afford that, but my client, if you knock bail down to $25,000 because of these facts and because they're not a flight risk, those are the things that DAs can impact. DAs can also come in and say, we agree with the defense attorney and we don't believe that any bail should be imposed here and that this person should be out on their promise to appear because they don't have a record. We need to do more of that in our courts instead of trying to fleece people down for the bail bond industries.
Well, so let me ask you, because this actually I had with this situation, I tell you, because this happened to me. I was arrested on Friday, and I think you have to wait. If you're arrested on Friday in the evening, you got to wait until Monday before you see a judge, correct?
Yes.
Now, but when I seen this judge, there's someone comes in representing on behalf of the DA, and they don't really know anything about the case. So it's just like he goes up there, and I'm for certain that, you know, this case eventually gets dropped because there's nothing going on. So I'm certain that I'm going to get out. But he goes up there and he makes it like, oh, he's swerving in the lane, da 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 da. And he did all of that, and I end up having to stay in there. So if he doesn't know anything about the case, how can he really make a real recommendation on how long or what my bail should be?
Therein lies the problem, right? Okay. We have to start to take into account other factors. And the DA's voice can't be the strongest voice in the courtroom. Mm-hmm. And if the DA's voice is going to be the strongest voice in the courtroom, then it needs to be a reasonable voice. Right. And so this is why we need money bail reform. This is why we need reasonable DAs. And this is why we need to take advantage of body-worn footage. Because if you have that at your disposal, right, and a DA reviews it, which they should be doing if they're going to be arguing facts of the case, and that person can actually see what happened, maybe they can tailor their arguments. Right. And maybe they should be arguing not for bail after they saw the footage. Right. And again, we need to get back to human components. Does this person actually create a danger? Are they a flight risk? Are they going to return back to answer to the charges? Right. Are they a danger to society? That's what should dictate someone being released pre-trial, not the numbers in your bank account.
Right. Okay, now, you said the money bail reform bill. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes. So we had two identical bills at the state level and the state assembly and also our state senate. We are now down to one bill, which is SB 10. This is a bill that reforms the way that our current cash money bail system works in California. What it will do is give a shift back to the actual factors a judge should be looking at when questioning whether to release someone pre-trial. So what we know to be true, a staple principle, a fundamental principle of our country is innocent until proven guilty. And yet we have a lot of people who are still sitting in jail pre-trial, meaning they have not been convicted of anything, but simply because they don't have the money to get out. Right. So this bill will actually allow for folks who are not a risk, who will return back to court, to be just let out, not having to pay any money, so that you're not incarcerated simply because you're poor.
Okay.
It also gives the shift back to safer communities, because the idea is not going to be your money is why you can get out, because folks with money get out all the time and then they do harm to the people they were supposed to be protected from. Right. And so we got to shift it back to safer communities and not money. You can support me, Jones-Wright for DA 2018, by going to my website, www.joneswright4da.com. That is FOR, not the number, JONESWRIGHT, There you can sign up to volunteer. There's a big red donate button. Even if you don't have a lot of money, I'm getting dollar donations. I'm happy to accept them. This is a people power campaign. So if you can't give a lot, just give what you can, because you understand the change that's needed. Follow me on social media. I am on Twitter. I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. Jones-Wright, the number 4DA is my Twitter handle. Also my handle for Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. Just go to Jones-Wright for DA. You're going to love the videos I put up. I keep it real at all times. So follow me on social media.